Welcome to Universe Secrets, where we uncover the cosmos. Today, we explore the Soviet Venera Program, humanity's boldest attempt to conquer Venus. While Mars captures our current imagination, there was a time when Venus was the true prize, shining brightly in our night sky. Early astronomers dreamed of a tropical paradise hidden beneath those clouds, imagining vast jungles, alien oceans, and perhaps even thriving civilizations. However, the reality shattered those dreams instantly. Venus is not a paradise, but a true hell, hostile to all forms of life. Undeterred by the mystery, the Soviet Union launched the Venera Program, a series of robotic missions designed to unveil the hidden planet. The beginning was plagued by failure. Venera 1 lost contact long before reaching its destination, drifting silently into the solar orbit forever. Venera 2 suffered a similar fate, its systems overheating and failing just as it approached the mysterious planet, yielding no data. Venera 3 achieved a different milestone. It became the first human-made object to physically crash into another planet, albeit unintentionally. These failures taught the engineers a crucial
Да,
lesson.
товарищ.
The environment of
Критический сбой
Venus
в
was
цепи
far
47.
more aggressive
Сверьте со
than anyone
схемами
had ever
немедленно.
anticipated. They were dealing with a runaway greenhouse
As
effect,
the solar
a planetary
radiation is
oven,
absorbed
where
by the
heat is trapped
surface, it
relentlessly
is
by a
re-emitted
thick
as
carbon
heat.
dioxide atmosphere. Venera 4 was built to withstand harsh conditions, or so they thought. The mission was to measure the atmosphere during its descent. As it descended, it began transmitting data, but the readings were shocking, showing pressure levels rising far beyond their calculated maximums. The crushing pressure was unexpected. Venera 4 was crumpled like a cheap aluminum soda can long before it could ever reach the surface. The atmospheric pressure on Venus is 92 times that of Earth, equivalent to being 1 kilometer deep under our ocean. Back on Earth, the engineers went back to the drawing board. They reinforced the next probes with heavy shields of titanium. The new design was a tank built for space. It had to survive not just pressure, but also the intense, scorching heat. Temperatures on the surface reach 475 degrees Celsius, which is effectively the same heat inside a wood-fired pizza oven. It is hot enough to melt lead. Any conventional electronics would be fried instantly without heavy insulation and advanced cooling systems. To make matters worse, the clouds are not made of water. They are composed of concentrated sulfuric acid, highly corrosive to metal. Venera 7 launched in 1970. It was built to survive the descent and finally transmit a signal from the surface. During the descent, the parachute ripped. The probe fell rapidly, hitting the ground at a speed that should have destroyed it. Miraculously, it survived the impact. For 23 minutes, it sent back weak telemetry, the first signals ever from another planet's surface.
It worked!
This was
We
a
have the
monumental
signal!
victory. Humanity had touched Venus, but the engineers wanted more. They wanted to see what it looked like. Subsequent missions were equipped with telephotometers, special cameras designed to scan the surroundings and transmit images back before the lander died. In 1975, Venera 9 touched down. The lens cap released, and the camera began to scan the alien landscape. The image it sent back stunned the world. It showed a field of sharp, jagged rocks, not smoothed by wind or water. The sharpness suggested a lack of erosion. The air was thick and still, preserving the geological features for millions of years. Venera 10 followed, but bad luck struck. The lens cap failed to eject, leaving one of the cameras blind to the world. The pinnacle of the program was Venera 13 in 1981. It carried color cameras and microphones to hear the planet. Upon landing, it captured the first color images. Everything was bathed in a surreal orange light, filtered by the thick clouds. The photos revealed a yellow sky and a desolate, rocky plain. It was a true alien world, beautiful yet terrifyingly hostile. Venera 13 also recorded sound. For the first time, we heard the wind of another world, a low, haunting whisper. It even managed to drill into the rock. It analyzed a soil sample, sending the chemical composition data back to Earth. Venera 13 survived for a record 127 minutes. It operated far longer than expected before succumbing to the heat. Today, Those brave landers sit silently on the surface, slowly melting and corroding, monuments to human ingenuity in a hellish landscape. Why haven't we gone back? The return on investment is low. Spending billions for a mission that lasts only 2 hours is difficult. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, the massive funding required for such hardened spacecraft vanished, ending the golden age of Venera. However, interest is returning. New missions like NASA's Da Vinci and Veritas aim to revisit our twin planet with modern technology. Scientists are even proposing floating cities in the upper clouds, where conditions are surprisingly similar to Earth, unlike the surface. Venus remains a cautionary tale of planetary evolution. Understanding it might be key to understanding the future of our own Earth.
Touchdown
From crashing
confirmed.
blindly to capturing the sounds of an alien
Mission
wind,
successful.
the Venera Program stands as a testament to human persistence. Thank you for joining Universe Secrets on this journey. Subscribe now to explore more cosmic mysteries waiting in the vast darkness of space. Let us look deeper at the journey. The trajectory to Venus requires precise calculations, launching only when the planets align perfectly. The internal engineering was a masterpiece. A spherical pressure vessel was the only shape capable of distributing the crushing force evenly. Before separation, the lander was chilled to -10 degrees Celsius. This thermal inertia was its only defense against the coming heat. Hurtling into the atmosphere at 11 kilometers per second, the probe created a shockwave of plasma, enduring forces of 300 Gs. A drogue parachute deployed first to stabilize the fall. This was a critical moment where many early missions had failed catastrophically. Passing through the acid clouds, the probe was blind. It relied entirely on radar altimeters to know when to prepare for landing. To save time and reduce heat exposure, the parachute was cut loose. The lander used a rigid air brake for the final plunge. Impact. The shock absorbers compressed. The probe sat on the burning surface of Venus, a tiny messenger from Earth and Hell. The cameras began their cycle immediately. Every second was precious as the internal temperature inside the sphere began to rise steadily. The lander was massive, weighing over 600 kilograms. Yet it looked small against the vast, empty, and flat volcanic plains. If you stood there, you would not see the sun. The sky is a glowing, oppressive dome of scattered orange light. The rocks are actually dark gray basalt, similar to volcanic rocks on Earth. The yellow tint comes entirely from the filtered atmosphere. Evidence suggests Venus may still be volcanically active. The surface is relatively young, reshaped by massive lava flows in the recent past. Later, NASA's Magellan probe mapped the planet with radar, confirming the landing sites were located on vast volcanic plains and plateaus. Venera 14 had an ironic failure. The lens cap ejected perfectly but landed right where a probe arm was meant to test the soil. Instead of measuring the hardness of Venusian rock, the instrument measured the hardness of the lens cap they had brought from Earth. It was a frustrating moment of bad luck.
Back to the drawing board,
even
gentlemen.
with perfect
It
engineering,
appears the
the
cosmos has a
universe
sense
always
of
has
humor.
a sense of humor. Despite the glitches, the success rate improved. The Soviets became the undisputed masters of landing on the most hostile planet in the solar system. They achieved this with computing power less than a modern digital watch. It was a triumph of raw engineering over digital finesse. The program evolved into the Vega missions, which deployed balloons to float in the atmosphere, tracking winds and weather patterns for days. These balloons revealed the super rotation of the atmosphere. Winds circle the planet much faster than the planet itself rotates on its axis. Venus is unique. It rotates backwards compared to other planets. On the surface, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Its rotation is so slow that a single day on Venus lasts longer than its entire year, a truly disorienting concept of time. Venera 15 and 16 stayed in orbit. They used radar to pierce the clouds, mapping mountains and canyons invisible to the naked eye. They discovered Maxwell Montes, a mountain range taller than Mount Everest, proving Venus has a dramatic and rugged geological history. But for the landers, time was always short. The cooling systems would eventually fail, and the electronics would succumb to the heat. The silence that followed was inevitable. Once the signal cut, The probe became just another rock on the surface, baking
This is the
forever.
actual design
Today,
they sent into the
replicas of these
atmosphere of
machines
Venus.
sit in
It's
museums,
amazing to see it in
reminding us
person.
of a
The
time when we
scale
dared
is
to touch the
huge.
surface of hell. The
The
data they
climate
collected
data
is
we
still
have
used
collected
today.
is
It
absolutely
helps us understand the
invaluable
greenhouse
for under
effect and
changes
climate
by the
change on
missions
our own
across the
planet.
Arctic.
Venus is a warning. It shows us what happens when a planet's climate spirals out of control, a potential future for Earth.
Torque is good
New
on the
missions
sensor
are
array.
finally being prepared.
Verified.
We
Let's
are
move
going
to the
back
main
with
harness
better
connection
sensors,
next.
heat-resistant electronics, and renewed curiosity. Engineers are designing mechanical rovers that use wind power and clockwork gears, avoiding electronics entirely to survive for months, not hours. We want to know if Venus was ever habitable. Did it once have oceans like Earth before the greenhouse effect took over? Computer models suggest that for 2 billion years, Venus might have been a water world, potentially capable of supporting life. But as the sun grew brighter, the oceans boiled away. The water vapor trapped heat, triggering the irreversible loop that destroyed the planet. Some scientists speculate that life might still exist, not on the surface, but floating high in the clouds where conditions are mild. Recent detections of phosphine gas have sparked debate. Could it be a sign of biological activity hiding in the acid clouds? Private companies are also joining the race. Small, focused missions aim to hunt for these signs of life in the near future. Until then, the Soviet probes remain the only human artifacts on the surface. They are the silent guardians of Venus's secrets. Their cameras are blind now, their transmitters dead, but the images they sent back are immortalized in the history of exploration. The men and
Look how
women who
young we
built
were
them
then,
achieved
standing
the
right there.
impossible. They proved that
It was
humanity
the
could touch
proudest day
even
of
the
my
most
life.
forbidden worlds. The Venera program remains a gold standard for robotic exploration. It showed us that no environment is too harsh for human curiosity. Venus shines as the morning star, a beacon of beauty. But we now know the terrifying power that lies beneath its veil. Two planets, similar in size and origin, yet with two vastly different fates. One became a garden, the other became an oven. Perhaps one day we will walk there, not in flesh and bone, but through avatars built of steel, seeing the world directly. Imagine watching a sunset on Venus, the light fading into a deep blood-red glow, the wind howling through the dense, heavy air. It is a landscape of absolute desolation. Yet there is a strange, haunting beauty in its stillness and its violent history. The next chapter of Venus exploration is just beginning. We are preparing to return, to answer the questions left unresolved decades ago. We seek to understand the atmosphere, the geology, and the history. We seek to understand why Earth survived while Venus died. For the next generation of explorers, Venus is a challenge waiting to be solved, a puzzle piece in the story of life. The Soviet probes may be gone, but their legacy endures. They were the first pioneers to brave the inferno for the sake of knowledge. As we look up at the night sky, let us remember the Venera missions, the only time humanity truly touched the morning star. From the failures of the early 60s to the triumphs of the 80s, the Venera program is a story of ultimate perseverance. These grainy, distorted images are among the most important photographs ever taken. They are our only window into a forbidden world. Thank you for watching this deep dive into history. If you enjoyed this journey, please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Universe Secrets. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of our cosmic exploration series. We have many more stories to tell, from the moons of Jupiter to the edge of the universe. See you next time.